All right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel reread podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Ben. We're here with our 96th episode covering the fourth issue, Grendel Warchild, the 1993 Eisner Award winner for Best Finite Series.
We are back again, and we're just ripping through Warchild here. It seems like we're getting a lot of good people talking. Everyone's like, oh, this is, my favorite thing. So our numbers have been going up. People have been excited to interact with the cast. It's been really cool. Everyone knows Warchild. It seems like if you ask someone if they know Grendel, it's usually Warchild, and then maybe it'll be the Honor Row stuff, which is super interesting. But I guess it makes sense as to why Matt went back to Prime with the new series.
It's amazing how accessible the story is, even though it's 40 chapters into the...
Yes, and it's really prepping you for what you're going to get with Tales. I mean, there's pirates
Everything.
this week,
Yeah.
There's knights, there's motorcycle gangs, there's all this stuff. So it's been really amazing. But before we get into it, I want to send a couple shouts out to the podcast. It, of course, and you all know if you listen to podcasts, it helps when you rate and review, and it helps when you talk about it to get it out to other ears.
Join the conversation.
Exactly. We've got 3 new reviews, and if these people are out there, Tom the K, Grendel in the USA, and Key Wolfork, email me at eli@cosmiclionproductions.com so I can get you your free Grendel zine. It's beautiful. I love zines.
You love zines. You made a great Grendel zine.
Great Grendel zine.
You want to get it in their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
It only makes sense, yeah.
And this one is different than all the others. It's got an additional, I swapped out, it's black and white instead of color. And I swapped out one of the pinups to put in my amazing Grendel Galactus pinup. So
limited variant edition.
Exactly. All right. So Key Wolfork says, issue minds. Great job on the read through. Warchild is the best of Grendel, in my opinion. All right. Thank you, Key Wolfork. And an excellent companion when reading the comics. I'm guessing that's what it says because it stops. Grendel in the USA says, highly recommended. Thanks, Grendel in the USA. And Tom the K says, a fantastic podcast for fans of Matt Wagner's Grendel and comics in general, filled with incredible amount of details, facts, interviews, etc. Recommended. Shout out to Tom the K.
That's only we could bring it. That's great.
So y'all, rate and review if you want to get one of the zines. Email me, Eli@cosmiclionproductions.com, and we'll get it out to you. Now, let's check in with our hosts. Let's see what they've been up to. Ben, he's got a big new job. He's a successful man about town. What have you been up to, buddy?
I worked my first week at a full-time job in 10 years this week.
Nice, dude.
It was not a good representation of what the job will be in the future because it was
orientation
it was not an enormous amount of actual work for me, but seems like it will be a good job. So I'm happy. I was very creative. I would put my pencil back in my cup at 5:30, 6 p.m. and then I would draw all kinds of comics, and all kinds of ideas would just flow out of me.
Well, great job, dude.
wishing that I could return to my life as a freelancer. Alas, the grass is always greener.
It really is, man. The grass is always greener on the other side of the grass, but usually the grass is green on both sides. Sometimes it's yellow when it's grass. Sometimes it's brown when it's your ass. But sometimes it's just better.
Yeah, so I'm having a good time. What are you? Oh, and I'm getting my internet comic book honey hole. I got the sickest score coming this way. I can't tell you where I get my books. Don't tell them where I get my books, but I am getting Zap 0 through 4.
I think I saw this. It's
$10
on certain
apiece.
Facebook group, correct?
Yeah, I was just like, I couldn't not. I was like, man, it's really selfish to take these. And I was like, fuck it. Never mind.
I saw that.
I saw those. They're mine now.
Yes, good job, dude. I saw that, man.
Yeah.
Well done.
So I'm excited about that. Eli, what are you up to? You got a lot of publishing moves and shakes.
That's right. I actually took off my day job today to pack Ghost Agents #3, our Kickstarter that was fully funded and is beginning to send out now as we're on the heels of releasing and of starting a new Kickstarter with a new comic that's new and different looking, a different shape. It's going to be like 4x8, 2 panels by 2 panels. That's going to be awesome. Stay tuned for more info about that. Check out the Kickstarter. I'm also, Weird Myths is coming out at the beginning of September, along with my brand new website. So stay tuned for that. And I guess I've been talking a little bit about this, but I can say it to y'all because this is the inner circle. Space Knights by Kevin Anthony Catalan.
Hey now,
formerly out of print beast of a book is now coming back into print through Cosmic Lion Productions.
Nice.
Issue 1 here. There's like a zine that's going to be like 8.5 by 11 handmade. There's only going to be about 30 of those, and then there's going to be a big issue 2 that's going to be like 80 pages like this one. So big books coming up, and then another book by a friend of ours that's going to be coming out. So a new book almost every week of September through Cosmic Lion Productions.
I don't know what any of these are. I'm excited to learn along with you, Grendel Heads.
Yes,
it's nice.
And me and Ben have a little project that we're working on that's going to be done within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Multiple 5-year planned projects, including this one. Yeah, man. That's exciting.
Yeah. And like we always say, we're excited to make more comics with our friends. So.
Yeah, that's the best part of comics. Except for when you break in and then your ego is just filled forever. Your wallet, I'm not so sure about, but your status.
Can't wait for my ego
enormous.
to get huge.
Yeah,
can't wait.
In the meanwhile, enjoy making rad shit with your friends, Eli, because that's the best part.
I can't wait for that. I love being creative and turning the world on to new comics, but what I'm really looking for is to pump my ego up.
Yeah. That's the best
No, never. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get a Grendel.
Let's go.
It's like the devil is my best friend. Hunter rose with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, we are back. Welcome back, and thank you again to Manison Laserdisc.
The other guy, Laserdisc.
Laserdisc's new name, Easy You Busy. Shout out Zach. Thanks again for the theme song, as always, dudes. All right, we're back in here.
We know that after this book ended years later, that Matt and Bisley teamed up again for Tower Chronicles.
Oh, that's right.
So it must have been a good experience working on War Child. But I gotta say, like, these covers are beyond off model. You have to imagine a conversation where he says, "Sir Bisley, just do whatever it is you do, help the book sell, and that'll be good." I
feel like that's what he does.
These have nothing to do.
No,
this cover has nothing to do with anything that's in the issue at hand. But that's okay.
It's okay. It looks great, and it sold books for sure. And these images are stuck in people's minds when they think of Grendel.
For sure.
And they think of War Child, they think of these covers.
Any criticism of this book is sort of mooted by the Eisner wig. So it really doesn't matter what the fuck we say. It doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, these are great books, and like I said, everyone who's commenting on the shit on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the stuff, Instagram, everyone's like, War Child's my favorite shit.
Yeah, sure. This is chapter 4, Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. They're on some tanker going from the New York harbor, it would seem, transatlantic on their way to Africa.
That's right. For some reason, I thought this
was
like
to fuck with Laurel. I don't know.
I thought this was like a derelict ship or something at the end of last ish whenever they picked it up, but clearly it's not.
They're delivering sheet metal and oxine, whatever that is.
Right. All right, so we this first page sets the stage. We see an overhead view, some amazing Bernie that amazing splotch we keep seeing. That's
Yeah, you know what? I really like the overhead, the foreground seagull. It has kind of a Klaus Janson vibe to it. Very nice.
Former mentor, Klaus
The
Janson.
That's true. The last panel is a little subtle. It's one of those things that you turn the page and then you might want to go back to see that in the very bottom lower left, there's what we will learn is a pirate ship bearing down on our guys who there it is over there.
There it is, yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Like if you just glanced fast, you would think it's nothing. Another establishing shot, but there is action. It's them pointing at the ship. I think I missed it. Yeah.
It's visual storytelling works when every panel advances the narrative with a new motion, emotion, or narrative element, no matter how subtle it might be presented. Okay.
All right, so we turn the page and there they are. We see the boat in silhouette, more established. Actually, this is the other boat of which we see this is a pirate.
The pirate ship.
Yeah.
Belching out its noxious black fumes. We bear low angle up on the flag, closer on the flag, and we reveal the sick Grendel graphic thing. Look at that.
Grendel Roger, basically.
Yeah, look at that great. Oh man, Matt and Pat working together in concert. Wonderful design.
Do we see that later in I feel like we see this design later in the
Jolly Roger? I don't know.
Maybe it's
later in the series?
In the Grendel Tales or something like that.
It might be wishful thinking, but that's
it's a great logo.
We can always wish.
Yeah. Maybe it's the art of Matt Wagner because they really show off a lot of the different logos and stuff.
Yeah.
So Roger, all right. And so they continue talking. They're like, what are we gonna do? Like their people are coming out.
What this does is it separates the martial class of Grendels from these like working guys. I'm not afraid, but I'm not a fighting man. There really is like a social division. Like if they come in to fight, like being a Grendel, it's like might makes right entitlement without question. Like it's just that's who I am, and
it's like a military Hell's Angel type.
Right. Well, it's also like the code. Like it was held together when Orion could be like, here's the code. Like it's the samurai thing. There's no property. You get treated really well. And once that erodes, it's just
right. And once that figurehead's gone too, because like, who are you doing this for? Who's pushing you to honor? No one. Certainly not Laurel.
Yeah.
Who we
speaking of whom, we cut back. She's doing her global address.
This is one of a few, I think, visual references back to motifs that we've seen in previous things, especially with Orion when he would address, or even Effie would address. We see this green screen, and that immediately tells us like this is the TV, this is a dress.
And then the last panel really hammers home that motif, which is the idea they've captured 97% of the global market with this address, which is insane. That's right. Run it again, which is the entire thing is how how media propaganda and the bottom line is sometimes more long-term effective a weapon than the sword.
Absolutely. Cool. And she's basically telling the world that Jupiter Assante is dead, and that And
are you on 4?
Just on 3 so far, but we continue on 4. No.
Four's structured really nicely because she's the center panel. She like takes a moment to decompress and then she sits back up. She's like, all right, let's get on with it. Like it's it's I think what Crystal says later on, it's that she's upset, but she's not sad. Exactly. It's all
she's stressed because she has to deal with this, and if Jupiter wasn't gone, she would have this whole other set of things that she could be doing or relaxing and not having to worry and not.
Well, he's her power shit. It's like she can control everything.
Weak power,
her power tchotchke.
Yeah.
Yeah, her power tchotchke. All right, and then she basically has to deal with every global leader. The fallout from this is like keeping everyone happy because they're all like, well, you're only temporary, but you're supposed to be temporary. But if he's gone, then like you're not the Khan.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and you're not even really the like bloodline.
Yeah, you're just someone who showed up in issue 7. She, considering
Chapter 38 or
something. I was thinking about this. How I remain frustrated that I really believe that Foddy and Laurel could have been merged into a single character just to do that. But the fact that that didn't happen and that Laurel just shows up in the last issue of Devil's Reign, and she's very well established, like it's not an issue. So
yeah.
What am I saying? Who knows? Anyway, I know that the Trekkie in you was going wild for panels 3 and 4 in this one when they're calling down to engineering.
Oh well, yes. I mean, I like can recognize this order of operations here because
yes. Well, it's also they bask him in red, the engineers, and
it's always right. And the Cap's nipping off his thing. I love this. Are you giving me all your shit? Like, you wish Kirk would yell down to Scotty, like, and Scotty's like, I'm giving her all she's got, Captain.
Oh, all she'll shit.
If Scotty was like, I'm giving her all she'll shit, Captain, that's great.
Yeah. Then the Paladin just shows up. I mean, they're gonna do whatever this fucking guy says.
Right. They picked him up because still humans existing, these look up to these Grendels, and these are people who are in positions of power. And if a Grendel comes to you and says, I need your car, I need to ride on your ship, you're just like, welcome, sir. Welcome, Grendel.
Yeah, it's better than facing any kind of consequence, All right, so they try to make this, they try to make a plan because they know that these pirates are going to come and get them. They're just working guys. They're just trying to get their jobs done. They don't really have any effective weapons. None of them are Grendels.
Yep, they got to do something.
And so he's got the Paladin has a plan, which
he's got a plan, Ben.
Seemingly makes no sense, but in the end game, it all makes sense.
The Grendel, Prime only thinks in absolutes. He only thinks, black and white. Here's what needs to be done. Here's the idea, and this is the only way for it. He doesn't hit the pawns are pawns, and that's it. They don't matter.
He's the personified will of Orion Asante.
Yes.
He is the avatar also of Athena, the god of wisdom and war. And so
I would argue, and he's the personified of not just Orion Asante, but the Grendel Khan, like the position, more so than the guy, because the guy kind of got soft and wanted to take care of his kid, but then I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, let's get it. The plan is
we're gonna
take your 4 most expendable men. We're gonna kill them. We're all gonna
spread their entrails.
We're all gonna play possum, covered in their blood, and then when we get boarded, the pirates will think that in fear we've all committed suicide together, and then we'll have the element of surprise. Oh, I mean, it is a plan.
It's a plan.
It's a plan. So, and what happens is they've got 3 guys in the brig who couldn't stay sober. And the captain's like, well, what about the 4th guy? What about
this kid?
Well, no, little kid's off limits.
You don't know.
All right. Yeah, so they don't know who the kid is. That's good. For some reason, they don't know who the kid is. And we cut back to the basement at the Dakota Black Hills in the shack.
All
right. And they're watching. Laurel and Susan are watching.
Right.
Crystal and Susan are watching Laurel's address, and Crystal knows in her bones that the address is bullshit.
Some sort of connection. She just knows things about Jupiter for some reason.
Even though they're not blood. It's almost like the psychic twin bond.
Right.
It is. I think the subtext here is that Laurel has low grade telepathy. That's the only. That's the only thing that really makes sense, because they're not related. And she says, "Oh, I knew when he would lose his first tooth," and all this stuff.
That's right.
She does.
I mean, anything's possible in this world. Of supernatural and powers and things.
I really like this animated thing where she's doing the 3 gymnastics poses. Really Look, nice. But the panel border is the balancing beam. She's physically gripping the border. That's nice.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I'd like to interject something here from the letters column that I think will show us a little bit of this. One of the guys in the letters column speaks about Pat McEwen and how his art has evolved a lot. And something that Diana says is that the first 3 issues were done by Pat expecting to come out through Kamiko. and I'm just basically talking about it.
Interesting.
And
Mhm.
so then there was a big break of like a year or two when Matt was doing
Oh.
faces and doing the demon. So in that time, Pat was growing better as an artist. So then when they came back and were able to continue the book, it had been a year or two, and so Pat grew as an artist, got better, and so that's why we see this change from, I believe it's issue 3 to 4. I've got to find exactly where he says it here, but
I would never have noticed. Maybe it would. Yeah, it was, or maybe Bernie changed also. That might be another thing.
I mean, yeah, because there was definitely a time too.
Maybe
And
it's
you know,
it's
when
hard
they
to
added
tell
the
because
assistant and
Matt
stuff.
is inking, so it's like the finishes. I gotta tell you, there's people that can tell who's inking a book, especially like Jobber Marvel bullpen guys. Like
Yeah.
Look at some book from '88, you're like, oh, Tom Palmer off the bat. I'm like, I could never tell that. That's
Yeah.
I
Well,
could never.
okay, so I found it. It says, as the Pat McEwen's art, wait till we get to issue 6 and beyond. Pat penciled the first 5 issues of War Child over 2 years ago, then began anew early this year, having had all that time in between to just get better. Okay, so we're not there yet.
I think you can see it. I see what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when you get to that
issue
divide,
6, so
it gets much it gets like cleaner and tighter a little bit, I think.
Okay, cool. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
All right.
So we see their Crystal and Laurel's friendship. Sorry, Crystal and Susan's friendship. We just see their connection sort of evolving and growing here a little bit, and we see
the intimacy.
Right. We see that they're more than just a guard. She's more than just a bodyguard or whatever.
Right, well, it's got this training mentorship aspect that she helps her. She puts her hand right on her body to help her balance on the beam. Okay,
right.
Quick,
we're back on the ship. Boat. Mm-hmm. All right, so here we go. And this is after Prime laid out his plan. The captain's like, I just can't do this. These are my men. And he's like,
yeah,
dude,
well, it's a plan
the only way.
It's not a great plan. You're gonna die either way, but
it's not a great plan. But
but what's he gonna do?
Yeah, what you gonna do? I'm a Grendel, and you're just some dumb captain who is shipping parts.
Right. Oh, this is where he suggests that the kid is the fourth kid. I really like this one where panel, the second tier, the first panel, where he's framed looking out the porthole. See where he's over his shoulder. Page 11.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're on page 11. Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
We're on the spread. The spread where he says, I don't like your plan. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Great.
But then he's finally like, I suppose they'll do. He's looking out the porthole and he's kind of like, pondering this plan. And he's like, okay, I guess if this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do.
All right. So Grendel I'm on 12, and Prime grabs him by his collar.
He's like,
not him. Oh, okay. And then he says, great. Okay,
like,
great.
Shit.
So then you decide who the fourth guy is. They're your men. Summon them now. I need to make use of your sheet metal. So Prime is in total control of the situation.
He's ready. Yeah, he knows everything that's going to happen, and they're just kind of like, okay, whatever. And then we cut back here to the Sun Tower, the Sun House.
Yes. All the global prime ministers and whatnot are arranged in somewhat of a Last Supper pose. This guy sticking his finger up is always the last finger one, the Last Supper, and she can't deal with these guys.
And again, here's the second callback. As I said before, there was those issues with Abby Thatcher where anytime we would see the audience or we'd see like the people in the bazaar, it would all just be like this, blah, 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 blah. It would just be like word bubbles all over. So this is kind of like a motif that we haven't seen for a while because we haven't seen these types of characters just talking and talking and talking without what they're saying being important enough to elucidate.
Laurel exits, and when she meets Heath back in a private room, Heath is done up a la, I like to think, Richard Corbin style. Well, good on you, Matt. Yeah, this is one of the coolest images in the book.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And like in a movie where he's like half in shadow and half in light, you're supposed to not know how to feel about the person. This person's in like red and green. Stop and go, move forward, move backward. What's going to happen? This is just a striking image and then also the green light, how it, the rectangle is sideways. Like, this is a very, very well done panel. Great job, guys. Love it.
On 14, Laurel has this wonderful 3-tiered choreographed sequence where she freaks out and paces and wags her finger and all this. And it really made me wonder if this was plucked script or not, because like I'm sure that Matt's reading the pictures like, oh, I know the rhythm exactly, because she's really the hand acting, the spine acting, the face,
Yes,
looks really good.
Yeah.
Then this guy, is this Evan? Some guy comes up and she wigs out on him. And then the lower left, where just like you were saying, where her words are obscured, patched behind Heath's head, but you can't even really tell. She's just yammering on.
Yeah. And then we kind of do this, pan out, where we pan out through the window of the sun house and then back further, and we kind of get an aerial shot.
Very nice. Very nice.
To the ship.
House.
Beep, beep. All right.
So they're doing this. They're also doing this work while the ship is moving as quickly as it, while the engineer tears it apart. So, okay.
Yeah.
It's not totally clear what he's doing. He's fitting these things together. And the captain's like, "Can't you do this downstairs?" And he's like, in the sun. He's like, "Nope, gotta power."
He looks up at the sun. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And there's something about, we need the rivets or something like that, but it looks like what he's doing is raising the wall, and then they're all going to hide behind it, so that visually, when the pirates are coming up and they're looking at the ship, they can't see anything like of people getting ready or of
shit. I hope these pirates on open waters don't have telescopes or anything like that,
or a perch.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So on the next page, 16, Prime's just telling Jupiter, I'm gonna have to lock you up in here again. Have you under this one might be for a bit. And then he's like, "Captain, have you made a decision?" And then
I think what he's saying here, no matter what you hear, don't worry. And it's like, I think that's the tip off where it's like the Paladin's hasn't given these people all of his plan is for him and the kid.
Right. Not all the information or
because every time we cut back to this captain, he's like worse and worse and worse and drinking more and more.
That's right.
More.
And
he's just like
down and sweating, and
it's like, "So have you decided who we're going to execute?" And the guy's like, "Oh my God, I can't do this." So this other guy comes up and goes, "All right, we got the 3 guys from the brig." And before he finishes the sentence, off with his head. "All right, there's your 4th guy." Great.
Yeah. Okay, and right in between here, sorry, I got sidetracked because right in here we got this Doug Monkey Dr. Giggles poster.
Oh wow, one of your favorite old school Dark Horse alum.
Absolutely.
Now you told me there's probably one Dr. Giggles movie, but probably more than one Dr. Giggles comic.
There must be.
Yeah.
We don't even know.
It's about a dentist who gives people laughing gas, and then he kills them, I believe.
Oh, maybe I should.
That's why he's Dr. Giggles, I think.
That makes sense.
But I don't think you should look, much deeper for anything else.
Don't send you some copies of Dr. Giggles.
It's not the mask or virus, that's for sure.
Gotcha.
All right, great.
Right. So he sliced his head off, yes, and he brings all the dead dudes, or he brings the
prisoners,
the drunks to deck, and it's just like no time wasted, no worry about anything. Prime just lasers their heads right off. No big thing, no chicken wang. Just
enter the pirates. This is a great little sequence to get them.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, I mean, as if there was something like more vicious than like Grendel Pirates, like this is just amazing. It's pulling up. We see the Grendel Roger, and then we see this dude with a face plate. We see a lady. We see a dude who's got kind of like the old school Grendel.
Oh,
like
he's
uniform.
wearing the uniform. I did not even notice that. That's a great little touch.
Yeah,
that's really great. What I really liked is in panel 3, the low angle shot of the rigging up to the perch. The one line goes down and then it's tangent, and then the captain is holding a line.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's great. Because it's basically the same line, maybe.
Yes. Very, very, very nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
very very nice. So then they board, and at most I counted these silhouettes. There's like at least like 15 guys
Right.
that go over. That's how many people they show. So they board yard. They're crazy. They got these great little grapples.
Mhm.
Classic
This one guy's
classic
got
swashbuckling.
one guy's got a bone in his hair,
Mhm.
Sideshow Mel style or
Sideshow
Shrunken
Mel.
Head style. Yep. And then they're like, "What? They're all dead? Suicide?" And they're like, "No, okay, I don't believe this."
Oh, so you're saying they don't believe
They
it
didn't
for
even
a
believe
moment.
it. He's like, "Check it out. Like, check out if see if those dead people are." And so Gnarly here just shoots him, and then like this one's fresh. And right as Gnarly says that, ooh, he gets a bullet through the brain as his eyeball pops out.
Yeah.
Kano's like, "What?"
And
just
Prime
like,
is very casually, very like Han Solo, just like this. Come on, little urgency, Prime. So he vins on the flips on the what's it called? Lightsaber and goes to town on these 15 guys.
oh
I
my
guess.
god, just
Oh,
shreds them.
and then look, the freight workers in their yellow jackets, they get up with their tonfas. They're like, all right, now we can fight too. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
But Prime kills everyone anyway.
Prime
like what
is-
I don't know what it matters. That Prime kills all these people.
Yeah, he's chicken and chacking and chopping and cracking, just flipping
Yeah.
everyone.
Everyone's having a great time killing people on
Yeah.
the spread.
But then in the melee on 23, the leader
The leader
locks
guy.
eyes with Prime,
Yeah.
and then that's when they show off. And Prime, I mean, dude doesn't even lay a single hit.
No,
Prime.
I
just
love
whacks
this.
and
I
wugs
love
and
this
cracks and
POV
flips.
as he's about to curb stomp him.
Yes.
Don't even see the eyes. This is one of my favorite
And then the
Pat
sound.
McEwen,
Yes.
force perspective anatomy shots. Very cool.
And then, I mean, you get the sound effect: stomp, stomp, smush, skull, crunch.
Yeah, he's gross. This is the last page. A few minutes later, and the seagulls are eating everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Going
you
to
see
town.
the skiff on the open waters, and the whole ship blows up.
Mm-hmm.
And Orion, Jupiter is left traumatized by the whole experience. What else is new?
Well, and then they're also towing something that we don't know what they're towing yet.
I assumed it was just rations they took.
Stuff they took, yeah.
I assumed they were just like, it's just stuff that we needed. And so the plan here is that we were just going to kill everyone anyway and take whatever
Right.
we needed because our mission is more important than
well,
oxine
and also,
tanks and sheet metal.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
These 20 guys.
Well, also there can't be any witnesses. Like if this guy goes and reports that
Right.
he saw
There you
Jupiter or
go.
a kid in a Grendel, then and it's to be continued.
Yeah, this is wild. They're on open waters.
Yeah, straight up
Not-
open waters.
Not
Why'd
good.
they need the ship anyway if the hover bike can just go on open water like that?
I think it's a big ocean,
It's
Eli.
a big ocean. You're right, Bud. You're right.
It's a big ocean. Yeah, I don't think it would be a fun trip.
Definitely wouldn't be.
I mean, it wasn't a fun. I mean, maybe for
It
fun,
still
was fun.
hasn't been. Yeah, I mean, maybe Jupiter's enjoying it. We don't know much about Jupiter in his older life anyway. So that's another whole time we could learn about too. I think
Well,
we get
there's-
like teen.
Yeah,
Jupiter,
well,
but-
between 9 and 10 years pass,
Mm.
and Jupiter becomes a man, and then like assumes his shit. So the story is literally designed so that Matt can go back and tell us what happens
Oh yeah,
in that 10 years
Oh, yeah.
time span.
that's great, man.
It's great. It's great.
The afterword is fun too. Like, and I think this is like you were saying last week. This is what is end up being collected in or starting the Grendel cycle. Just the same way that Devil by the Deed was in the back of Mage and then was assembled into a book. So
It's like Star Trek. It's a sprawling saga that needs to be.
a scorching epical saga.
You need to reiterate. I don't have my floppy, so I'm not looking at it.
Yes.
Couldn't find it, but it's what's as much as I like Simon Bisley, not that much. It's nice to see that Matt is going to take over cover duties on the last 6 issues.
Oh yeah.
So
That
we have-
issue next week is probably one of my favorite covers just of all time. It's amazing.
Yeah, very. I'm sure Julius Schwartz and Mort Weisinger would approve.
I do want to send a shout out here in the letters page because Andy R. Dabydeen of Brampton, Ontario, sent a really cool one-page comic about receiving his preview of War Child. It's really great. I'll put it up on the screen, but this is just really cool to see. I wonder if he went on to do some work. I'll have to look into that, but this is really cool to see on the letters page from back then. Super, super cool. And then there's one more thing on the letters page. I actually read them this week, where someone points out that there's a little issue with the dates and ages of Orion and Fadi. According to 24, the whole thing started in the year 2512. Now ending in issue 40, it states that Orion dies in 2588. So he first attacked the church at age 37. That would make him 113 years at the old, and like, how did Manny die exactly? They're saying. And so let's just say that issue 24, this is Diana now, contained a typo, and Orion's story really began in 2542, not 2512.
We'll have to check later editions to see if I cared to correct that typo or not.
That would put Fadi in her 60s when she died, and Orion would have birthed Jupiter at 78, which seems at least plausible. So
it seems
okay.
I don't know if the age of the male birthing father is what makes it plausible or not.
Right. Yeah, I don't think
that's
so
not for me to decide. Very cool. Man. I read this trade through over the last month a number of times. Seems like it picks up more speed as it goes, and also it just gets richer when Susan Berrigan gets her due coming up, and it gets even Devil's Odyssey really enriches the Paladin. He is the most published. Is he the most published iteration of Grendel? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah,
so interesting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to more. No new show news this week, but we're anxiously awaiting anything we can hear about the show news, and
coming up soon.
And as is our 100th episode.
Our 100th
episode.
To
do something fun for that.
Yeah, I'll have to wrap up that illo for such and such print.
That'd be nice.
Such and such print. Yes, I'll try to make that happen.
All right, guys. I think that's it for this week. Vivat Grendel.
Keep on grundling, my friends.
All right.
Terrific.
Until next week.